I'm Stephanie Reddy. Welcome to the warm-up brought to you by Ford. We've got Steve Smith and Brendan Haywood in the building. Thrilled.
Yes,
If
indeed.
you guys could see everything that happens when we're off camera,
Yes, indeed.
you would be thrilled as well. There's 9 games in the NBA tonight, 2 on TNT. But first, before we start talking about all the games, we want to get to LeBron James. He's listed as probable now for the game tonight, but he had this to say about how the league is responding to the coronavirus when he spoke to the press earlier. Let's listen.
In regards to just, the whole possibility of games being played without fans?
Well, it's funny because when I was asked the question, would you play without no fans, I had no idea that it was actually a conversation going on behind closed doors about the particular virus. Obviously, I would be very disappointed, not having the fans, because that's what I play for. I play for my family, I play for my fans. They're saying no one could actually come to the game if they decide to go to that point, so I'd be disappointed in that. But at the same time, you gotta listen to the people that's keeping a track on what's going on, and if they feel like it's best for the safety of the players, the safety of the franchise, safety of the league, to mandate that, then we all listen to it.
Have you personally changed any of your habits because of all of this stuff?
No.
Does this make you feel safer in what they've done so far?
Much safer. Every time I don't even know who. Listen, I have no idea what happened. I miss you guys being right here, like right here in my bubble.
Okay, so LeBron James walked back his previous statement. His explanation was very solid. He said that he wasn't aware even that the conversations were taking place. Just personally speaking, I've been in those press scrums. That looks a lot more accommodating to me, so I'm not at all upset about it. I would love to hear what you guys think as former players.
No, I think precaution and obviously common sense, and obviously the NBA and all these leagues are doing the right thing. Let's just understand what's going on right now, and let's take the necessary precaution to keep everybody safe, fans included, obviously media and everybody. So I think it's the right thing to do, and I do think from a standpoint of optics, it looks better. It's a cleaner shot.
Yeah.
We get a chance to hear without everybody fighting over everybody. So maybe we should keep this going even after this thing is settled.
I'm on board with Smitty. I agree. I think that it is a cleaner shot. It looks a lot better than everybody out there fighting for positioning and fighting to ask the questions. And then from a safety standpoint, I think the league is doing the right thing by making sure you take every precaution until we find out everything about the coronavirus and what's going on with it. Let's just be safe.
Absolutely. Okay, let's take a look at the Eastern Conference standings. It's kind of fluid, because there's a few teams that are set. Obviously, Milwaukee and Toronto have clinched already, but you take a look at Boston and Miami, they're only a game and a half apart, so you don't know what's going to happen down the stretch. Boston is trying to right the ship and get back on things. Of course, their health will play a part in that. In Indiana, same thing with their health.
Yeah, it is. And I think if you're Boston and Miami and also Indiana, you all three are looking at this schedule. Home court means a lot. And I think if you're Boston, you do not want to slip into fifth, B. Wood.
Yeah.
And I think if you're Indiana, you still have a chance, a good chance to maybe grab home court. And if you're the Miami Heat, if you look at their record, they haven't played well on the road. So it's obviously for a young team, veteran team, everybody involved. I would love to have home court, especially in that first round. So these teams are fighting for that.
Yeah, like I said, if you're a Boston team, you want to stay where you're at. You don't want to slide to a 4 or 5 and risk possibly not having home court advantage if you get to that 5th seed. And if you're Indiana, playing a lot better right now, they hit that little lull when Vic came back, but now they've righted the ship a little bit. So if you're Indiana, you just want to keep on playing at a good pace, developing, get Vic more and more comfortable out there with your guys, and then just go on down the stretch. But health will have a big part of who plays well and who doesn't. Boston, it seems like every night is a different person out, whether it's Kemba, Tatum, Brown, Smart. Seems like somebody's always missing time. They're going to have to make sure they get everybody healthy going down the stretch and make that good run.
B. Wood, out of those 3 teams, we're looking at Boston, Indiana, and Miami. Well, Boston, Miami, Indiana. Which team you think is a must that needs to have home court to have a chance to even advance?
I think for a team that needs to have home court has to be Miami. When you look at Miami, what they've done on the road, they've been lights out in Miami. South Beach is an extra. It gives you a little bit of extra home court. Yeah, it gives you a little bit of extra home court advantage. But on the road, they've been a 500 ball club. So they definitely are a team that has a lot of young guys that haven't tasted the playoffs before. They're going to need to make sure that they get the home court. They make sure they stay in form.
So you look at the Boston Celtics, and we mentioned this, they've been struggling lately. You take a look at these numbers, last 5 games, and on the right-hand side, you see where they rank in the NBA during that stretch. There are only 30 teams. So if you are 26, 27, 29 in any category, that does not bode well What is the problem with them? What's
You know,
happening?
Jaylen Brown has missed a lot of games,
Yeah.
you know, in this losing streak. And I think sometimes people look at the Boston Celtics. It was Kyrie, it was Jason Tatum, it was Kemba, it's Al Horford. He's kind of been forgotten, B. Wood, as a guy that's the glue, because I think he's one of the most important Celtics just because of the way he plays both ends. He can score 20 without having to have his offense, his number called every trip down. So he's been a missing piece, and I think the record shows.
Yeah, I think it has to do with all the injuries. You know, Kemba had a stint where he was missing some games. Now you have Jaylen Brown's out, and Jaylen Brown, to me, he's been gone under the radar a lot. Tatum's having an incredible season and deserves all the praise that he gets, but Jaylen Brown is right there with him. He is having an impressive year as well, and when he misses games, I think that hurts him because he's a very good defensive player, great two-way young player in this league.
And unfortunately for the Celtics, Brown is out again tonight, but some good news. Kemba Walker's minutes restriction has been increased, so now he can play 30 to 32 minutes per game. They lost 2 in a row. Their last 10 games, they're 5-5. That's not ideal, but they're playing the Pacers tonight. Only 3.5 games separate these two ball clubs at 3-5 in the East, and the Pacers are on a roll. Last 7 games, they're ranked first in field goal percentage during that stretch, and look what they're doing to their defense. Opponents' points, second in that category.
The Pacers are getting back to their identity. When they were losing games, they weren't quite as good defensively. And when you look at what this team was at the beginning of this year, and even you go back to last year, their calling card was not offense, it was defense. When they're playing defense and they're able to get stops and then run out, that's when they're better. And so they also get their stops. That's when they're going to make sure that they're a better team. So I like when they make sure their defense, everybody's on the same page. I don't know what happened to it, but that defense is back.
Yeah, and I also put a big mark in a circle around this guy, and I want to see him perform today against the Boston Celtics, because that front line of the Celtics don't have a lot of size. Want to see if Tyson, those guys, can handle Sabonis, and for them to be successful, he's going to have to carry them from that front court standpoint. I'm looking forward to this matchup.
You're looking at Sabonis right there. He's been terrific for them. First-time All-Star. We just got word that Victor Oladipo is available to play tonight. He was originally listed as questionable, so that's good news for them. Malcolm Brogdon, however, is out tonight. So, again, a team that's been bit by the injury bug, but the Pacers are figuring out ways that they can win. Victor Oladipo, no one expects him to be in all-star shape at this point, but what does he bring to the table that can help them down the stretch?
When healthy, you know, Victor Oladipo is a closer. And I think that's what one thing is. We look at the Pacers, they play fantastic, just like B. Wood said. But at the end of the day, you need a closer, and I think he's that closer. What I just was hoping for, that him and Malcolm get a chance to have some minutes together.
Right.
And we know it's going to be a slow pace and a slow, I would say, start for him. But not having Malcolm now, those two can't get that chemistry they need to be on the court. And that's the one thing I know Nate McMillan would love to have those two guys play together a little bit more.
Yeah, because when you look at this backcourt, when they're healthy, this is probably going to be one of the better two-way backcourts in the league when Vic gets all the way back and he gets his confidence back in that leg. But until then, there's going to be some ups and downs and ebbs and flows because the team, because of the injuries, they're not getting that continuity. So they need to get back out there when possible, when health permits, and get a chance to play together down the stretch, because I think the Patriots can make some noise in the Eastern Conference.
This is going to be such a good run leading up to the playoffs because everyone's jockeying for positioning. And then when they start, I can't wait. I'm very excited. The first game on TV.